Brought to you by Penguin.
The Spitfire Girls Fly for Victory by Jenny Holmes. Read by Colleen Prendergast. Chapter 1. March 1944. My, 2 busy bees. Bobbie Fraser stuck her head around the door of Angela Brown's recently vacated room at Burton Grange. She found Mary Holland and Jean Thornton kneeling on the threadbare carpet, scissors in hand. Mary had laid out pieces of a dress pattern, bodice, sleeves, collar and skirt panels, onto a pretty pale green rayon material, and now she and Jean prepared to snip. In the background, the Andrews sisters trilled the words to A Zoot Suit on the record player that Angela had left behind. "Would you like to lend a hand?" Mary glanced up at Bobbie. "Me? I can't tell a sleeve piece from a collar interfacing." Bobbie stepped carefully across the room, then plonked herself and her pile of freshly ironed laundry down on the bed. She leaned back on her elbows and dangled her feet. "Let me work out who intends to wear this wonderful creation when it's finished." On the gramophone, the sisters harmonized sweetly. According to them, the whole world was playing samba. "Mary, this is a new dress for you," Bobbie surmised. "How did you know?" Mary proceeded to cut. "Pale green is your colour. Jean would have chosen a shade of blue. Now, the big question is, who are you intending to impress?" Above the crackle of static electricity, the drum-driven Latin American rhythm filled the once elegant room of the Georgia Manor House. In addition to a double bed with a faded green eiderdown, there was a dressing table with a chipped glass top, 2 wickerwork chairs, and an old mahogany wardrobe. Crimson damask curtains hung from a heavy wooden pole. Why should I be trying to impress anyone? Mary's loose mid-brown hair fell across her face and exposed the pale nape of her neck as she worked. She was dressed casually for her day off from ferrypool duties, in black slacks and a cream blouse. "Pull the other one," Bobbie laughed. "We all know that Flight Lieutenant Cameron Ainsley is the lucky fellow, don't we, Jean?" The pair had declared their love shortly before Cameron had been posted to Airby training camp, an hour's cycle ride away. "What's a zoot suit when it's at home?" Knowing that Mary disliked being teased, Jean steered the subject towards the title of the song. Bobbie took the bait eagerly. "It's the latest fashion for men, a killer diller coat with enormous shoulder pads and wide lapels. They're all the rage in Harlem, apparently." "But not here in Rixley," Mary pointed out dryly. Snip. She cut delicately into the material, careful to keep to the outline of the bodice piece. Snip, snip. Yes, she wanted to finish the dress in time for her longed-for meeting with Cameron, and what was wrong with that? Snip, snip. It wasn't anyone's business but hers. Yorkshire isn't New York. It's not even Chicago or Detroit. Bobbie yelped with laughter. "No, imagine Cameron in a zoot suit." She turned her head towards Jean, or Douglas for that matter. Good Lord above, the pair of them would be locked up for crimes against good taste. Trombones and trumpets, flutes and clarinets swung along to the honeyed American voices on the record. "It's a pity Angela had to leave us." Jean concentrated on cutting out a skirt panel. More snipping ensued. "We'll all miss her now that she's been transferred to White Waltham, of course, but you more than most, Bobbie." Letting her head loll back against the wall, Bobbie stared up at the cracks in the ceiling and let out a long sigh. "I did shed a tear when I waved dear Angie off at Rixley Station," she admitted, in her strong Scots brogue. "But the ATA needs her to train the new intake of recently signed-up ab initio recruits down there. 2,000 applications last month alone, by all accounts. All getting ready for the big push for victory." Jean's steady hand finished cutting out the first skirt panel, which she placed over the arm of the nearby wicker chair, whenever that may be. "Soon," Mary insisted. "That's what everyone's saying, and I can't help thinking they're right." The whole country was in the grip of a fever, counting off the thrilling, nerve-tickling...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?